Hey there, it's Melissa Benaroya, and today we are gonna cover two topics because I didn't have a voice yesterday, and so I still sound a little funky, but at least you can understand me now. So if you're just joining us, this is my Friday Childproof Parenting Live, but I've overlapped it with our back to school parenting boot camp. So today's topics come from the emails and the workouts that I've sent everybody that's enrolled in boot camp. And if you missed it, today is our last day, but you can still get all of the information and watch all of the Facebook Lives we've done over the week if you register, and I'll make sure I include the registration below. So I'm Melissa Benaroya. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, so I'm a therapist. I work with children and families, but I actually practice as a parenting coach, and I work with parents on challenging behaviors, but that are totally developmentally appropriate. They still drive you crazy, still challenging, but there's nothing wrong with your child. It's a matter of just figuring out some tools and strategies to work with your child to avoid particular challenges. So the two topics that we're covering today is number one, connecting with our children and the importance of connection. And I had a lot of you share the ways in which you connect with your child, and I really want to make this a habit. And some of you do have that habit of connecting before bedtime, which is a wonderful time to like snuggle and talk and review the day. But I think there's other opportunities, and it doesn't take a lot of time and energy, but it makes a huge difference. I mean, how many of you have a kid that is just a disaster in the morning, that doesn't listen, that's in a bad mood, that doesn't cooperate? Well, a lot of times the reason for that is they feel disconnected from you. And so when we make the time to connect with our kids first thing in the morning, it can change everything. And you know, I've learned this through my own experience as well, because my daughter, who is now 13 years old, is a little bit challenging in the morning. But when I go in her room and I wake her up really gently and give her a cuddle and I look her in the eyes, our mornings tend to be very different. So I just want you to notice, because for most families, the mornings are really busy, many times rushed, many times it's stressful. So I think just acknowledging that if we slow down and connect with our child first, things can go a lot easier. Now, there's another time of day that tends to be challenging, and that's usually in the afternoons when kids are getting home or parents are getting home. And once again, there's a lot to be done. There's homework that needs to be done, things that need to be cleaned up, dinner that needs to be made, baths and showers. All of these things need to take place in a very short period of time. And we tend to just kind of jump into things as parents because there's just a lot to do. But I think this is another opportunity where we can slow down and connect with our kids. And I know some of you are with your kids all day, so that may not be an issue. Or maybe you're with your kids all day, but you're kind of running around and you don't slow down. Even this morning, I noticed my daughter, I talked to my daughter, I saw my daughter, but I didn't stop and really look her in the eyes, and I regretted it this morning. So I think in the afternoon, especially when one parent's home all day and another parent comes home, instead of them kind of jumping in to the conversation with other adults or going and changing, sitting down and just connecting with the child, whether it's just sitting on the floor and reading a book or them sitting on your lap and chatting. It's just a few minutes, or even if you do want to change, having your child go with you. Just to kind of be in more relaxing clothes. I know just a lot of families do that. So I just wanted to challenge you, even if you do have that nighttime, bedtime, connection time, I'm wondering if there's another time of the day that you might be willing to connect with your child. And one of the things I also suggested, and a few of you picked up on this and some of it was later, was that asking your child what would be meaningful for them or what they would like to do. So that example of coming home from work and wanting to connect with your child before jumping into dinner and everything else that needs to happen, I think asking them what it is they want to do. Do you want to sit down and read a puzzle, or just want to sit in my lap and talk? I think bringing the child into the discussion is really empowering. They're going to feel understood and heard and felt and much more connected to you. So that was kind of the first piece. So I'd love to keep that dialogue going and share some of the times that you connect with your child outside of bedtime, because that is an easy, natural time, which I think is important. Even as my kids are older, they can put themselves to bed, and many times they do. I don't even know it. They've gone to bed. And it's so important to me that I go up and say goodnight. And it's really easy to just like keep doing what I'm doing and let them kind of do their thing. But it is really a gift, that time of connection. So I highly encourage you to keep that special moment or whatever it is you do in your routine before bed. But maybe there's another time in your day. The other thing that we talked about, and I just kind of touched on this, is integrating some structure, consistency. And the thing that I suggest was using routine. And with young kids, I think it's, starting off when they're 2 or 3 is a perfect time. Using something like a routine chart to help them guide themselves through the things that they need to get done. And with older kids, it's going to be just a list they create for themselves. But younger kids, they need something more tactile and visual. And I suggest using a routine chart that you come up with your child. And this routine chart needs to be in a very short period of time. So I suggest either picking the morning routine or the evening routine between, getting home and getting to bed, or dinner to bed, whatever time is most stressful for you. Picking one of those windows of time and talking to your child about what they need to do during that time. So if it's getting ready in the morning and your child gets distracted and that's frustrating and you're late and delayed, talk about everything they need to do and start just by brainstorming like all of the things they need to do, and then dial it down to like 4 to 8 things. So it doesn't need to be complicated. Once you agree, and you may have to cross things off the list. They may say like, finish my Legos. Okay, great. That's probably not something we have to do every morning. It's not important to get out the door. Once you have that list, create a chart with them. And a lot of people will draw charts or print things out. I really like the use of taking pictures of your child doing these things. When they see themselves doing it, they're more likely to do it. So take a picture of your child making their bed and brushing their teeth and eating their breakfast. If you would like to have a visual of this, I do have a post on routine charts, and you can find that on the childproofparenting.com blog. So there is a guide and a visual there, just to give you more details. So creating it with your child is one of the keys to success. Taking time for training is also really important. So we can't just create it with them and let them go, do your thing, right? We need to do it with them. We need to take time for training. And then we slowly back out of this process. This allows them to feel more capable, more in control, and more responsible for themselves. And it allows you to draw yourself from power struggles. So you're not constantly saying, go brush your teeth. Did you make your bed? Eat your breakfast. Put your plate away. Like, that's exhausting. That's draining. That's not helpful. So it helps keep things simple and light and keeps you out of that power struggle. And with older kids, hopefully they've had some of that already. If not, I've used this routine chart with kids through the elementary school years. My middle school daughter, though, she doesn't necessarily use that anymore. We used it for so long. They kind of got it down. They do it. I don't even have to ask. My son gets up, makes his bed, brushes his teeth, gets dressed. I don't see him downstairs for breakfast till all of that's done. So that consistency is important. It also helps us pick and choose our battles, because there's things that we'd like to get done, and there's things that we have to get done. So it also helps us stay consistent and focus on what needs to get done. So older kids, they can write up their schedule and post it somewhere. Or whether it's in their room or it's up in the kitchen, on the refrigerator, wherever it's most helpful to them. But having those tools is really important. You and I have a tool. I'm actually talking to you on my tool right now. It's my phone. It dings and pings me every time I need to be doing something or somewhere or late. right? So we use these tools to keep us organized. And as human beings, our brains have evolved to feel calmed by consistency and routine. So it's definitely a calming thing to know what's coming next or know what's expected of us. So those clear expectations are really key. So just wanted to highlight those two things and make sure I answer any questions you had about, first of all, finding those moments for connection and what you can do to connect, how your child participates in coming up with that connection time and what you're doing during that time, and then also using routines for consistency to avoid power struggles and to encourage your child to be responsible for themselves. Because at the very base of what they should be doing is some self-care, right? So we want to start them with some self-care when they're really young and then build on their responsibilities. So eventually they put the silverware away, or they unpack the whole dishwasher, or they fold the clothes, or they feed the dog, whatever those small things are doing. It's going to feel more natural. They're going to be more cooperative in adding more things if they've already been responsible for themselves and doing other things around the house. They are a contributing member of the family. All right, well, I didn't see any questions as of yet, so I am going to sign off for today. I'm really excited that you have joined me for boot camp. And once again, if you haven't had the chance, you can still register. If you are in boot camp, I want to let you know that I have something special I'm going to share with you later today. I'm really, really excited. It's something that I've been working on, and I hope you're excited too. So stay tuned. It's coming at you in just a few hours, and let's keep going. Let's keep working on these things that we've discussed over the last week. I've thrown a lot at you, a lot. And my goal wasn't that you do all of these things all the time, but that, I stimulated some interest, or I reinforced some of the practices that you're already doing with your child. So I'm going to sign off before I completely lose my voice again. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thank you again for joining me on this Childproof Parenting Live and during our back to school boot camp. Take care. Bye.